Subject: she said she needed me. Until I walked in on her with another man. Hey man, first off, I want to say thank you for even opening this email. I've been watching your channel for a while and I always thought, man, what these dudes are going through is wild. I never thought I'd be one of them, but here I am, and I gotta get this off my chest. My name is Ryan. I'm 35 years old, work as a machine operator, and I just went through the worst experience of my life. A divorce I didn't see coming, betrayal I couldn't imagine, and a lie I lived with for years. I'm not gonna waste time. I'll go straight into what she did to me. I caught my wife, well, now ex-wife, in our bed, riding another man, in our house, while our daughter was with her mom so she could get some work done. Before I get to the details of that day, I need to talk about the red flags, the signs I missed. I ignored them like an idiot, and I wish someone had slapped me and made me see the truth. Red flag 1. Always on her phone, always working. She worked from home as a salesperson, right? She'd always say she was texting leads, building relationships with clients, blah, blah, blah. But over time, it just seemed like she was always on her phone, even late at night. I'd come home from a 12-hour shift, and she'd be laying in bed on her phone, giggling or smiling. I thought maybe she was decompressing or looking at memes. Turns out, she was scrolling Hinge. Red flag 2. Suddenly self-conscious about her appearance. Out of nowhere, she started dressing differently. Not just trying to feel good different, but I'm about to meet someone different. Tight clothes, heavy makeup, even perfume before taking out the trash. I'd compliment her, and she'd brush me off like I was annoying her. At first, I thought maybe she was just trying to find herself again after giving birth. Nah, bro. She was preparing for someone else. Red flag 3, less intimacy, more attitude. We used to be all over each other. Couldn't keep our hands off each other. But the last few months before everything exploded, she barely wanted me to touch her. Said she was tired, busy, or had a headache. But at the same time, she was snappy, dismissive, always arguing. It wasn't that she wasn't in the mood. She just wasn't in the mood for me. Red flag 4. Random fights about me working late. I bust my ass. I'm one of the first guys at work and the last to leave. I do 10, 12-hour shifts regularly, sometimes weekends. I've always done that. She used to say she appreciated it, but all of a sudden, I wasn't helping enough at home. Said I was leaving her to raise our daughter alone, which wasn't true. I'd come home, bathe our girl, read to her, even take her on daddy-daughter days. But no matter what I did, it wasn't enough. Now I know why. Because she wanted an excuse to paint me as the bad guy. Or maybe she was just projecting her own guilt. Who knows? Let me back it up now and tell you how I met this woman. Let's call her X. That's all she deserves to be called now. I met X 5 years ago at a mutual friend's party. I wasn't even supposed to be there. My buddy dragged me out after a long shift. I didn't even want to go, but I'm glad I did. Or at least I was glad back then. She was funny, charming, and super affectionate from the jump. The chemistry was instant. Within a month, we were spending every weekend together. And let me tell you, she always brought up marriage from the beginning. I want a husband, not a boyfriend, she'd say. I'm not dating just to date. I admired that, honestly. I figured she was serious about commitment. Joke's on me, right? We dated for a year, and I proposed. She said yes, of course, and the wedding was beautiful. The honeymoon phase was real. We couldn't keep our hands off each other. Constant dates, late night talks, laughing over nothing. I thought I found my forever. Then came the arguments. Nothing crazy at first, just little spats about chores, family visits, money. But after our daughter was born, it escalated. She said I didn't do enough, that I left all the parenting to her, even though I'd come home after 10-hour shifts and immediately go into dad mode. But apparently that wasn't enough. She'd guilt trip me, accuse me of not being present. even though she had the luxury of working from home while I was breaking my back to provide. Then came the final stage. It was a Thursday. I remember that clearly. I had gone in for the day shift, same as always, but around 2 p.m., three of our machines failed. It was a big outage, and since the night crew had the parts, management told me and a few others to clock out early so the overnight team could handle it. I thought, cool, I'll surprise X and my daughter. Maybe we can get dinner together. I hadn't told her I was coming home early. I wanted to walk through the door, scoop up my little girl, and give my wife a kiss like old times. But when I opened that front door, something felt off. The house was too quiet. I didn't hear my daughter's cartoons playing, no toys on the floor, no signs of life. I walked down the hallway and heard moaning, rhythmic, loud, unfiltered moaning, coming from our bedroom. My heart dropped. I froze for maybe 2 seconds, then ran straight into the room. There she was, naked, on top of some dude riding him like a damn rodeo. I blacked out. I didn't even hesitate. I yanked that man off the bed. He was completely nude and started swinging. I don't even remember how many punches I landed. All I know is, by the time I stopped, he was on the floor crying and begging to leave. I let him go. He grabbed his clothes and ran out the back door like a scared little boy. I turned to X. She was covering herself up with the sheet, crying, saying, "I'm sorry," over and over. I asked her, "Who the F asterisk K is that?" She said, "I met him on Hinge." I couldn't even speak. Then I asked, "Where's our daughter?" And she had the nerve to say, "She's with my mom. It's just too hard trying to work and be a full-time mom." You can't make this up. I didn't say another word. I went to our closet and started packing. She kept following me, crying, grabbing my arm, saying, "Please don't go. We need you. She needs you." I turned to her and said, "I'll always be there for my daughter, but we're done." I walked out that house with 2 duffel bags and a broken heart. I called my coworker, a good dude named Jay, and told him everything. I just let it all spill out. Here's how that call went. Me: "Bro, I walked in on her with another man." Jay: "What? Wait, what? Are you serious?" Me: "In our bed, man. She was on top of him. I beat the brakes off him. She met him on F asterisk, 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 in Hinge." Jay: "Jesus, Ryan, where's your kid?" Me: "With her mom, thankfully." Jay: "Damn, man, look, you need a place to stay. Come crash at mine. Spare room's empty. Stay as long as you need." That man saved me. I stayed with him for 2 weeks. During that time, I went to work like usual, saw my daughter every day, and started looking for a lawyer. I didn't want to lose my mind or do something stupid, so I kept myself busy. I met with a lawyer, a shout out to Mr. Kent, and told him everything. He asked, "Do you want to get a paternity test?" At first, I was offended, but then he said, "Only do it if you're okay not knowing. But it's better to know now than find out years later." So I did it. I picked up my daughter, took her to a clinic, and made sure to tell her, "This is just a fun little checkup, sweetie. Don't tell mommy, okay?" It took a few days, but the results came back. I'm not the father. The rage I felt, I can't even describe it. My hands were shaking. My knees almost buckled, but I kept it together. I went back to Mr. Kent and gave him everything. The cheating, the Hinge profile, the DNA test. Within a week, she was served with divorce papers and the paternity results. She tried calling me 30 times, left voicemails crying, screaming, apologizing, saying I was her soulmate, that she made a mistake, that she was scared, blah, blah, blah. I didn't answer a single call, so that's where I'll leave it for now. There's more, trust me, a lot more. But I'll stop here unless you give me the green light to keep going. Thanks again for reading this. It means more than you know. Ryan. Subject: Update. She tried to weaponize the child that wasn't even mine. Hey again. I appreciate you giving me the green light to continue. The support, your comments, The fact that you are listening, it means everything to someone like me who had their whole world flipped overnight. Like I said in the first email, I'm not here for pity. I'm here to tell the truth. And if it helps one guy dodge the bullet I took straight to the soul, then it's worth it. So here's what happened after I served her with divorce papers and the DNA results. Let's just say all hell broke loose. The meltdown. After the paperwork hit her, she must have called me 50 times in one day. I ignored every single call. I had nothing left to say to her. What could she possibly tell me that would change anything? I saw the man. I heard the moans. I had the DNA proof. Game over. She started emailing me since I blocked her on everything else. I'll never forget one of the emails. She titled it, "We Can Still Be a Family." She wrote, "I made a mistake. I was lonely. I didn't mean to hurt you. You were always working and I felt invisible. But that doesn't change how we raised her together. You are her dad, even if the biology says otherwise. She loves you. I love you. Please don't throw this away." She had the audacity to act like I was throwing away our life. Like I wasn't the one who was lied to, cheated on, and manipulated. That line stuck with me. You were always working, and I felt invisible. Yeah, I was always working. For her, for the kid, for the house, for the life she said she wanted. That's how manipulators talk. They twist your dedication into neglect so they can justify stepping out. She tried to use the kid. I stayed at my buddy Jay's house for about 2.5 weeks before finding a small apartment about 20 minutes from my job. It's nothing fancy. 1 bedroom, old kitchen, a noisy neighbor upstairs, but it was mine, a place I could breathe. My lawyer helped me set the terms. I told him I still want to see her. Yes, even after learning she wasn't biologically mine. That little girl was my daughter in every way that counted. I raised her. I kissed her scrapes. I rocked her to sleep. I knew which cartoon made her laugh and what color her blankie was. I wasn't going to abandon her because of X's lies, but X wasn't having it. Once she realized I was serious about the divorce, she tried to weaponize the kid, a child who wasn't even mine. She sent me this message. If you're not going to be with us, then maybe it's best you don't see her anymore. I don't want to confuse her. She doesn't understand why Daddy left. That word, Daddy, hit me like a freight train. I brought that message to my lawyer. He shook his head and said, "This is the part where it gets ugly. She's trying to use the child as leverage." He explained that since I wasn't the legal or biological father, I didn't have a lot of rights. But if I wanted visitation, we could try to arrange a mediated agreement. I asked him, "Can she actually stop me from seeing her?" He said, "She can try, unless you fight for guardianship or some form of psychological attachment status, but that's a long, expensive process and doesn't always end well." My hands were tied. I had no rights. All I had was history, and that doesn't hold up in court. The sit down. 1 week later, I asked X to meet at a neutral place, a public park. I said I just wanted to talk. She agreed. She showed up with our daughter, or should I say her daughter, and tried to act like nothing had happened. "Say hi to Daddy," she said, forcing a smile. Our daughter ran to me like she always did, arms wide open, yelling, "Daddy!" I picked her up and hugged her like it was the last time I ever would. We sat at a bench while our daughter played on the slide. I didn't even waste time. "I want to be in her life," I said. "I don't care what the DNA says. I raised her. I love her, but I won't be manipulated, guilted, or treated like an option. We can work out a visitation schedule, formally or informally, but I'm not begging." She started tearing up. Classic act. Said she didn't know what she was thinking. Said she was scared. Said she was broken. I told her straight up, "You broke me, and you don't get to act like the victim now." She agreed to let me see her. Twice a week at first, no overnights. I accepted. I had to. Meanwhile, back at work, my coworkers rallied behind me. Jay was a real one. Even the supervisors cut me some slack. They could tell I wasn't myself. Hell, I wasn't even sure who I was anymore. One minute you're a family man with a routine and a plan. Next minute you're alone, betrayed, and questioning if any of it was real. But work kept me sane. The machines didn't lie to me. They didn't smile to my face and stab me in the back. I threw myself into every shift like it was life or death. I did overtime. I picked up weekend shifts. I needed the distraction, and I needed the money. I also started therapy. My boy Jay told me, "You can't carry that weight alone, bro. Talk to someone." I did. It helped. I started sleeping again. Started eating properly. Started remembering that I was still a man with value, not just someone's backup plan. Then she got bold. 1 month into the divorce, she started sending mixed signals. Messages like, "I miss your energy in the house." She asks about you every morning. "You're the only man who ever treated me right." That kind of stuff. Part of me wanted to believe she was changing, but the smarter part of me knew this wasn't regret. It was panic. Her backup plan didn't work. Maybe the guy from Hinge ghosted her. Maybe reality set in. Whatever it was, I didn't respond. Then, one day, she called and said, "I think we should try counseling." I laughed. I literally laughed on the phone. "You want counseling now? After I walked in on you? After the test? After the games?" "I didn't mean to hurt you," she whispered. "You didn't mean to cheat on me in my bed, lie about our daughter, and try to use her as a pawn. You did all that accidentally." Click. I was done. The divorce finalizes. It took about 4 months, but the divorce finalized. I got my own place, my own routine, and my own peace. She didn't fight me on much, probably because she knew she had no ground to stand on. No assets were tied up, no shared debt, just heartbreak and silence. My lawyer asked me one final time, "Do you want to file for parental rights?" And I said no. Not because I didn't love the little girl, but because I wasn't going to chain myself to a woman who used a child as a weapon. She already showed me she'd use that little girl to manipulate me any chance she got, and I wouldn't let myself be vulnerable like that again. Instead, I told X, "I'll be around. If she ever asks for me, I'll never say no. But you burn this bridge." She didn't reply. Life now. It's been about 7 months since the day I walked into that house and saw everything I built collapse. I won't lie, the first few weeks were hell, but now I'm stronger, wiser, harder to manipulate. I've started lifting again, eating better, reading more. I bought a motorcycle, something I always wanted but never had the freedom to do. Turns out freedom tastes better than I remembered. I've dated a little, but I'm not in a rush. I don't trust easy now, and I don't give people my time without them earning it. And you know what? That's not bitter. That's smart. Final thoughts for now. To the men reading or listening to this, if something feels off, it probably is. If she changes up suddenly and you can't explain why, trust your gut. If you're working 10 plus hours a day and still being told you're not doing enough, don't just take it. Ask yourself, is she guilty of something? And most of all, if you're raising a child and things don't add up, get the test. It's not about being cruel. It's about being sure. I wanted to believe she was my forever. I wanted the house, the laughter, the family photos, but she chose chaos. She chose lies. And in the end, she lost a good man. So that's the update, brother. Let me know if you want a part 3. I've got more, including how she tried to come back again a few months later with some wild accusations. Thanks for giving guys like me a platform. Ryan. Hey man, thanks again for letting me come back with part 3. Like I said at the end of my last email, I thought it was over. Divorce finalized. DNA test done. New apartment. New routine. Peace of mind. I was finally starting to feel like myself again. Or maybe the version of me I was meant to be before she dragged me through the mud. But just when I thought she was out of my life for good, she came back. And she didn't come back with apologies or closure. She came back with accusations. Let me take it from the top, because what she tried to pull could have ruined my job, my freedom, and my name. It started with a random text. About 5 months after the divorce was finalized, I was out with my buddy Jay, the same guy who let me crash at his place during the storm. We were at a bar watching a playoff game, and for the first time in forever, I wasn't thinking about her. I wasn't thinking about the betrayal. I wasn't thinking about the DNA test or the guy from Hinge. I was just enjoying my beer and the game. And that's when it happened. Buzz. I looked down. Unknown number, but the message said, "So you've really moved on, huh? Just forgot about us?" I knew that tone. I knew that entitlement. I knew it was her. She changed her number, but her manipulation style stayed exactly the same. I didn't reply. 5 minutes later, "You're a coward. You left your family. She still asks about you." I turned off my phone. Jay looked at me and asked, "You good?" I said, "Nah, but I will be." I wasn't about to let her pull me back into the circus. I didn't answer for days. Then came the escalation. She showed up at my apartment. You know that feeling when you come home and immediately sense something's off? That was me pulling into my parking lot and seeing her car. She was parked 2 spaces over, just sitting there with the engine running. I parked, got out, and immediately she opened her door and stepped out. "I just want to talk," she said. "No," I replied. "You want to manipulate. That's what you do." She looked thinner, maybe stressed. Maybe her new man left her. Maybe karma was finally making the rounds. She tried to walk toward me. I put my hand up. "You have no reason to be here. I told you, I'll be there for her, not for you. But even that's done if you keep crossing boundaries." That's when she dropped the first bomb. "You were abusive, Ryan. You think I won't say something?" My heart sank. I said, "What did you just say?" "You heard me," she said, eyes locked on mine. "You were emotionally abusive. You ignored me. You made me feel unsafe in our own home. That's why I strayed. That's why I had to lie." I laughed. I couldn't help it. It was insane. I said, "So let me get this straight. You cheated, lied about our daughter's paternity, and now because I won't come back, I'm abusive." She said, "I'm not saying I will report anything. I'm just saying we need to talk." It was blackmail, clear as day. I stepped back. I pulled out my phone. "You need to leave. I'm giving you 60 seconds before I call the cops." She didn't wait. She got in her car and drove off, tires screeching. I called my lawyer that night. Lawyer's advice: document everything. My lawyer said, "She's fishing. She's hoping you'll panic and come back. Don't. Don't meet with her. Don't respond. And from now on, record everything." I started documenting everything. I kept a log, date, time, what happened. Screenshots if I had them, just in case she tried something. Because the world we live in, a single accusation can destroy you, even if it's false. Then she took it to Facebook. Next week, a coworker pulled me aside. "Yo, Ryan, what's going on with your ex?" I froze. "What do you mean?" He showed me a screenshot. It was her Facebook post. Some of you may know that I recently went through a difficult divorce. I won't name names, but emotional abuse is real. Being ignored, being treated like you're less, being made to feel invisible, it wears on you. Just because someone pays bills doesn't mean they're a good husband or father. The comments were full of sympathy. "You're so brave for sharing. Men can be so cruel. We stand with you." One of her friends commented, "I always knew something was off about him." I wanted to vomit. This was a woman who slept with a man from Hinge in my bed while her mother watched a child I later found out wasn't even mine. And now she was painting herself as the victim? I screenshotted everything. HR got involved. 2 days after the Facebook post, I got an email from my HR department. Subject: request for meeting. Employee conduct. I swear my stomach dropped into my boots. I showed up, knocked on the office door, and sat down. They were calm, professional, but firm. "Ryan, we received a message through our anonymous tip line. It claimed that you were recently involved in a domestic issue that could affect your conduct at work. We're not accusing. We just want to be proactive. I knew right away who it was. I told them everything, calmly, professionally, with documentation. I pulled out a folder I had started keeping, emails, texts, the DNA results, even a statement from my buddy Jay confirming I lived with him during the time she claimed I was abusive. They looked through it. They nodded. One of them said, "Thank you for being transparent. We'll file this and keep it in the record. No further action is being taken." But the damage was done. The anxiety, the shame. The fact that one woman's lies almost cost me my livelihood, all because I wouldn't come back. The final straw, she sent the police. 3 weeks later, I came home after a long shift. I had just sat down to eat when I heard a knock at my door. 2 police officers. I opened up. "Mr. Ryan?" "Yeah." "We received a welfare concern from someone who said you might be a danger to yourself or others." I couldn't believe it. I said, "You're joking." They weren't. They said they had to do a wellness check. They asked if I had weapons in the home, if I had thoughts of self-harm, if I had any recent mental health diagnoses. I answered calmly, showed them my apartment, explained the situation, told them who filed the report. I knew it was her. They apologized and left. But I stood in that doorway afterward, staring at nothing, fists clenched, jaw locked. This woman had already lied, cheated, and tried to ruin me at work. Now she was trying to weaponize the police? I filed a restraining order. That was the last straw. I marched into the courthouse the next day and filed for a restraining order. I showed them the messages, the Facebook post, the HR report, the police visit. The court granted a temporary no contact order. A hearing was scheduled for a month later. She never showed up. The judge granted a permanent order. She's not allowed to contact me, come near my home, my job, or reach out through third parties. If she does, she'll be arrested. It was over. Where I am now. It's been over a year since that day I came home early from work and saw her on top of that man. I'm 33 now. I've rebuilt my savings. I'm on a better shift rotation. I've met a few decent women, but I move slow. I ask questions. I observe. I trust patterns, not words. I still think about that little girl. I sometimes wonder what she'll think when she's older and finds out the truth about me, about her mom, about how everything fell apart. I don't blame her. She was a victim of all this too. But I also know I had to choose peace over pain. I had to choose my life, because if I stayed, I'd be dead inside by now. That's the truth. To every man reading or listening, do not go back. Don't let a woman who betrayed you rewrite the story to make you the villain. Keep receipts, protect your name, speak your truth. And if you're walking through hell like I did, keep walking. There's light on the other side. I'm living proof. Let me know if you want a part 4, because believe it or not, 6 months after the restraining order, she sent her cousin to reach out to me with another message. Can't make this stuff up. Stay strong out there.